All right, you're looking live at the Nasdaq, a daily chart which fell 30 points today, or 0.22%, and closed at 13,767. The index was up more than 2% on Friday, and 2.05%, and then today gave back 0.22%. So I'm becoming more and more and more bullish here on this market. We had negative news over the weekend from Moody's. The market didn't really care. It sold off a little bit in the morning, but that's to be expected. A little profit taking after that 2% move on Friday and this big move from the bottom. But you can see here this, first of all, the index is, like I said, 2.8% above the 50. And you can see this 10 EMA now has traded through the 50, the 21 is going to trade through the 50 here very soon. And if all things go right, we could have a power trend. But right now I'm all green. I'm very bullish on this market. There's still a lot of bearish negative sentiment, which adds a little fuel to the fire. And anyway, today the Nasdaq was down on lighter volume, and we have a lot of things going on this week, including inflation data and earnings reports. So that's actually a positive, I think, that after a 2% move, you just give back a little insy beansy teensy weensy 0.22%. That is bullish. The Russell, this thing can't get out of its own way. This is the small cap, and you could say maybe this is like an inverted head and shoulders here. Shoulder here, the head here, and then the other shoulder right here. Maybe, I don't know. This is a more risk on index. And if it's obviously it's been in a severe downtrend, but maybe it's hit a bottom here at that 1633, and it's starting to climb and claw and scratch its way back towards a downtrending 200, a downtrending 50. But we're just gonna have to wait and see, take it one day at a time. Obviously, the Nasdaq is a stronger index, and I'm going to go to the reason why, and Apple is one of them. This has been, it looks a lot like the index, except for here, the 21 is already through the 50, okay? So the Nasdaq's a little bit behind, Apple's a little bit ahead, but it's very similar. And though I'm not long bullish, this looks like a really good chart to me. Microsoft, I like better. A little better because it's already formed this cup-shaped pattern. Now I got to explain something here. We got in this like around 340, an early entry, right, when I believe the index was just starting to repair itself, hit a bottom. What was it, the 27th? And so so it was coming out this day, the follow-through day of November 1. You had to buy something, and that one was just breaking through that old buy point. So it's been on a nice tear ever since. But today it had an inside day, made this high on Friday, 370, and today had a real quiet inside day. And that's what bulls want to see here. Just a small little pullback, maybe to this 10, this fast rising 10 EMA before it starts to go higher. I believe this thing is going higher. I believe Microsoft will pass Apple in market cap. This is nearly 2.725 billion trillion, or billion, 2.725 trillion. And then Apple is 2.8, I think, trillion. 2.874 trillion. Okay. 2,874,000,000,000. The numbers are astronomical, but I believe Microsoft will pass Apple, not just because I own the stock or I like the stock better, but I believe that Microsoft and enterprise will do better in a downtrending economy. When the economy slows, Apple is more of a consumer product, and the consumers are going to pull back before the enterprise will. And I believe Microsoft will pass Apple because of that reason, soon. I'm not going to say when, but I believe it will soon. Anyway, enough of that shenanigans nonsense. This is Amazon, another stock that I like. I didn't buy it. I probably should have, right there around that 134 as it climbed above its 50, but I didn't. And now it's just it made this 143.65 on Friday and then pulled back. You can see another inside day today where the high and the low are they trade within the barriers of the prior session. So there's 143.65 was the high. Today's high was 143.23, and the low on Friday was lower, 139.91 than the low today, 140.67. So Amazon to me looks healthy as well. Meta, this is one that I like as well. It's trading within a base. But while the Nasdaq was pulling back a little sharply this morning, Meta made a new high there at 332.33. So we like stocks making new highs, and Meta looks good. Google, not so much. Still trading below the 50, taking forever to try to get back up through its 50. And, you want to see that Debo move where it just, plants and goes, right? How's that 10% shakeout plus 10% move, and Google is not doing that. Tesla's another one. Just it was below the 200 today. It got above the 200 and actually did it close above it? The 200, 221, yeah, it did slightly, 1.2%. So congrats to the Tesla longs. You're above the 200 now, but this thing has a lot of work to do. And the last one of the Mag 7 is NVDA, and I really like this chart as well, not because it's going up every day, but it's got this double bottom base, and it broke out above that 476.09, which would be a standard buy point in the double bottom base, and it's showing strength. Once again, the Nasdaq was selling off this morning, and NVIDIA was trading higher, kind of like Meta. So those two stocks were flexing a little bit today. All right, I'm going to move on. Speaking of flexing, this cybersecurity group is just really strong. This is CrowdStrike, and I can't decide which one I like better, CrowdStrike or Zscaler, but CrowdStrike traded over 200 today, made a 52-week high. This is what, 5.5% above the 10 EMA. It's a really strong stock. I would say, as an IPO, this is the 2021 run, and then it crapped out and, had a very bearish 2022 with the, Jerome Powell interest rate hike bonanza, and then made a low here, and it's had a nice year in 2023. But I would say, as an IPO, this is just getting into its institutional advancement phase. And I would say that these highs here, oh wow, almost 300. I'd say, that's a possibility there. That's all I'm going to say. This 298 right here, 298, I believe over time, more quarterly earnings reports, I believe CrowdStrike can get there. Zscaler, very strong stock too. And this one is 5.1% above its 10 EMA. So CrowdStrike a little bit above. I think this one was closer to a buy point heading into this weekend, but it's getting extended here. You can see that it just pulled back to its 50, and ever since it did that, it's been real healthy with the rest of the market since we turned the calendar in November. We had the follow through day on November 1, which must be this day here. November 1 is down on that day, and then rallied through the 50. Very nice. Zscaler. Palo Alto Networks reports earnings on Wednesday after the market closes. I believe they're going to have a strong report, and could be a catalyst for the entire sector. And it's definitely got these 52-week highs in its sights here at 265.90. And QLYS made a new high today as well. You can see it gapped higher and just kind of forming a shelf, but kind of poked above here today at 173.05. So that's a very strong industry group. Hitting their highs, 3 of the 4 hitting their highs. The other one has earnings on Wednesday. Okay, I'm going to go to the drug stocks, which they had really good news. They sold off in the morning, which was a little crazy, but I mean, that happens, right? Here you can see this is the open, just immediately sold off. I mean, after a big run, a sell-off is expected. You could see the first, 20 minutes, it sold off, then it started to gain momentum. Buyers came in, and it really had a nice day. What was Eli Lilly up $15 today? So a 2.5% move. And the company that had the excellent phase 3 trial data for cardiovascular disease was just flat today, and that's kind of the way it goes, you know, in the stock market. They're not going to go up just because they have good news every day. This thing's had a huge run, and the thing about these companies like Novo has too much demand. They don't have the supply to meet it. You know, even if a million people walked into their office tomorrow, they could not meet the demand because they want to have enough drugs for the existing clients. So their deal is building manufacturing plants. That takes some time. Sure, you can rent space somewhere and manufacture their drug, but the big thing was this is, you know, this is just getting started with Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk, the weight loss, the obesity, and now the cardiovascular. And just reading the reports, this is going to help kidneys and other organs as well. So, you know, they have a patent on their drug till 2033. So this is just a long runway, and you can't get into each day or the daily wiggles of this thing. This is going to be a long, long runway, just getting started. And you can see, you know, from 2019, this thing's gone from what, 23 to, you know, $100. So just hang in there with Novo if you own it. It's not going to go up every day or every week, but their drug, the thing about Lilly and Novo is they want to be covered by insurance because their drugs are expensive, and so the more ailments that they cure or remedy or help with, the better likelihood they are to be covered by insurance. So that's the importance of that report over the weekend. Now, not just diabetes, not just weight loss, now cardiovascular, and they're going to be kidney as well. So eventually, those two drugs from Novo and Lilly will be covered by Medicare. It's just going to take some time. You know, the government doesn't work too quick. Anyway, that's enough of that for the drugs. The home builders are looking really nice. If you're looking for stocks to buy, setting up in bases and not, you know, way extended like some of the technology stocks. This is Pulte Homes, which had a nice run after the you know, the turn of the month, the calendar, and now it's pulled back. This is a nice, what I would call a bull wedge pattern here. Made that high, pulled back in lighter volume. This is looking really good if you want to branch out from the technology you know, drug group or whatever. If you want a home builder, that one looks good. Also, Lennar looks pretty good. Very similar, you know, ran up and now just kind of forming a shelf here. That one looks good. DHI, this is the largest one of the group. Pretty similar, ran up and now forming the shelf. You know, they look good to me, the home builders stocks. Software, I can't go much further without talking about the software names. Palantir had this huge run up. Now it's just going sideways, waiting for these moving averages to catch up. So, you know, a few days of sideways action would not be the worst thing for a Palantir. That looks good to me. Yeah, I got to go to Duolingo. There's a lot of talk about Duolingo. Okay, they had this, you know, breakout. I talked about this over the weekend about, you know, earnings gaps that close near their highs, you know, up more than 400% average daily volume and a 20% move. And then Friday it went higher, you know, while everyone else was profit taking. What happened today? Well, you know, this is the profit taking on Friday, you know, caution into the weekend. Then it opens lower, like, oh my God, all these profit takers, look at all this selling down here. Okay. And then what happened? Leveled off. Buyers came in, just finished near 213. You know, it was up a buck or so today. Yeah. So this thing looks good. Look at these big blue volume bars. Somebody's buying that stock. It's not Aunt Sally. So I like Duolingo, ServiceNow, you know, what's not to like here. Cleared that 614.36 and just keep, it wants to go higher. I mean, it's getting extended, it's pushing away from the base, but still think that's actionable. KD, I was doing some research over the weekend on this stock, and they you know, if you look down here, they've got like over 16 billion in sales with less than a 4 billion market cap. This thing gapped higher on better than expected earnings, and now is forming this little flag pattern here. So give it a couple more days to flag out. I wouldn't be surprised to see more buyers come in the near future. So that's going to remain on my watch list as well. Parsons, this is not on my watch list, but it did have a big move. Had to mention it. Made a new high today, so that one is showing strength as well. You could see that there's some buyers coming in here. That one looks good. Monday, they reported on Monday, had a great report, better than expected, and got above the moving averages. So that's significant, more than a 10% move with 423% above average daily volume. The problem with this is it didn't break out of a base. It's still consolidating in a base. So this is not something that I would be interested in. It's got work to do. But yeah, 10% move, and now it's a 1.5% above the 200, 3.7% above the 50. But you can see it needs work. It's got a lot of work to do. It's got to get above like what, 175 area. All right, so Datadog is another one that had a nice move on Friday, but you can still see here on the weekly, this has a lot of work to do, and it might do it, probably will do it. It's just going to take time. Up today, in a week tape. So Datadog is showing strength here after its earnings reports. That's enough for the software. I'm going to go to the this CDNS, if I can. I'm dyslexic sometimes. Anyway, this is for the semiconductor design. So these, ramp ahead of the semiconductors and trade with the semis, and they're making new highs now. So that tells me that semiconductors are probably not going to be far behind here. And of course, NVIDIA would be, an AMD, and Broadcom will be the ones to be the leaders in the other group here. Synopsys is another one of these design stocks, and yeah, just making new highs today. So these two are making new highs. That's a clue right there. Definitely showing strength, not actionable. They're extended, but showing strength, 4.7% above the 10, and just pushing away from its base big time now. All right, that's it for me today. Oh, except I lied. I've got the air conditioning stocks, which are looking good. Everybody's always looking for stocks to buy, and this is MOD. This one sliced its 50, and now it's run right back through that. And that's kind of what you want to see. That's what Google's not doing. But we'll see. It's got to continue higher with some power. I like that thing around $50. The other one is Fix, which is on our ready list, and you can see why. This cup shaped base. Let me show the weekly chart. Nice little consolidation here, and then what is this, 3 weeks? Well, this is only one day this week, but starting to flatten out there, and it's got that high in the handle. So that one looks good, and so does Linux. I went by the construction sites around here in my area recently, and they're all installing Linux air conditioners, which are supposed to be really top of the line. Pulte Homes, by the way. Anyway, this is consolidating in a base. Wouldn't be surprised to see this thing move past 400 real soon. And that is it for me today, except for one more thing in honor of the great Steve Jobs. Home Depot reports tomorrow, and you can see this thing has been a train wreck, which is a highly technical term. Not really, but I think the expectations are pretty low here, as this thing is sold off from 340 down to 280. So, there's a lot of damage here. I think the expectations are pretty low for Home Depot. We'll see what they have to say tomorrow morning. Then on Wednesday, we hear from Target, which is another, well, if Home Depot's a train wreck, this is an airplane crash. This is disaster, and it is trying to make a bottom here. This is how bottoms are formed. Hit a bottom at 102. Not going to trade much higher. It got resistance here at the 50, but not going lower like I thought it might. Go down below 100, but it hasn't done that. And on Thursday, we hear from Walmart. So 3 big consumer names that are going to affect your retail stocks. If you're owning retail, these are the 3 big kahunas that will impact that sector. And I just wanted to point that out. If you do own retail stocks, this could have an impact on what they say in the conference call, what they expect for Christmas and for 2024 going forward. Anyway, that's it for me today. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Got a lot of stocks on our ready list, and we never give up.